Have you ever wondered why sex education is such a controversial topic in schools? Why do some people support it fiercely, while others believe it doesn't belong in the classroom at all? In today's video, we're diving deep into one of the most debated topics in education, whether sex education should be a part of the school curriculum. We'll break down the pros, the cons, the science, the culture, and everything in between, so stick around to get a well-rounded understanding of why this issue matters more than you might think. Let's begin by acknowledging the reality: sex education is not just about teaching kids how to have sex. That's a common misconception. Comprehensive sex education includes a wide range of topics, from anatomy and puberty to consent, relationships, contraception, and sexual health. It's about empowering young people with accurate, age-appropriate information so they can make informed choices and protect their health and well-being. So when we ask, should sex education be part of the school curriculum, we're really asking, should young people have access to the knowledge that can help them navigate one of the most complex aspects of human life? The short answer? Yes, sex education absolutely should be part of the school curriculum. And here's why. First, let's talk about public health. One of the primary goals of sex education is to reduce rates of sexually transmitted infections, STIs, and unplanned pregnancies. Research has consistently shown that countries and states with comprehensive sex education programs tend to have lower rates of teen pregnancy and STIs. When students are educated about safe sex practices, contraception, and the risks involved in sexual activity, they are more likely to delay sexual activity, use protection when they do become sexually active, and seek medical advice when needed. In other words, informed teens make safer choices. Now, some might argue that sex education encourages teens to become sexually active, but that's a myth. Multiple studies have debunked this idea. In fact, comprehensive sex education is often associated with delayed sexual initiation. Teens who understand the emotional, physical, and social implications of sex are more likely to wait until they feel ready, and when they do, they're more likely to engage in it responsibly. Compare that to abstinence-only education, which focuses on promoting celibacy until marriage without providing information about contraception or disease prevention. Research shows that abstinence-only programs are significantly less effective in reducing risky behavior, and in some cases, they can even lead to higher rates of unintended pregnancy. Beyond public health, there's also a moral and ethical dimension to this discussion. Young people have the right to information about their bodies and their health. Withholding this information does not protect them, it leaves them vulnerable. In today's digital age, teenagers are constantly exposed to information, much of it inaccurate or misleading, through the internet, social media, and peer conversations. If schools don't provide them with credible, evidence-based information, they'll turn to sources that may distort reality, glorify risky behavior, or reinforce harmful stereotypes. That brings us to another crucial point: consent and personal boundaries. One of the most valuable aspects of modern sex education is the emphasis on consent. Teaching young people about mutual respect, communication, and recognizing inappropriate behavior is essential in a world where sexual harassment, assault, and coercion are sadly too common. When students understand what consent looks like and why it matters, they're better equipped to set boundaries, respect others' boundaries, and seek help when they need it. This doesn't just prevent harm, it helps foster a culture of empathy and accountability. And it's not just about preventing the negative. Sex education also helps promote healthy relationships. It teaches students how to communicate with partners, how to identify red flags in a relationship, and how to nurture emotional intimacy. These are life skills that go far beyond the classroom. Learning how to build respectful, trusting connections with others is foundational to human well-being. Yet, without formal education, many people grow up learning these skills through trial and error, often at great emotional cost. Another reason sex education should be part of the school curriculum is inclusivity. A well-designed curriculum doesn't just cater to heterosexual relationships, it includes LGBTQ+ topics, addresses different gender identities, and makes sure that all students feel seen and respected. This is crucial because many LGBTQ+ youth face higher rates of bullying, mental health issues, and isolation. When schools offer inclusive sex education, they send a powerful message that all students matter and that their health and identities are valid. This contributes to a more accepting, informed, and compassionate school environment. Of course, not everyone agrees that sex education belongs in schools. Some parents and communities believe that these topics should be taught at home, not in the classroom. They worry that schools might conflict with their personal or religious values, and to some extent, that concern is understandable. Families have diverse beliefs, and education systems should be sensitive to that. But here's the thing, not all parents feel comfortable or equipped to talk about sex with their children. Many avoid the topic altogether, leaving teens to figure things out on their own. Schools can fill that gap in a way that's respectful, non-judgmental, and grounded in facts. It's also worth mentioning that modern sex education programs are typically age-appropriate and carefully designed to match students' developmental stages. For younger children, that might mean learning the names of body parts, understanding personal space, and recognizing safe versus unsafe touches. As students grow older, the curriculum evolves to include more complex topics. It's not a free-for-all, it's structured, thoughtful, and guided by educational standards and health experts. In fact, some of the most effective sex education programs are those that involve parents and guardians in the process. Schools can provide resources, workshops, and open communication channels so that families are informed about what their children are learning. This builds trust and helps reinforce important lessons at home. It's not about replacing parental guidance, it's about complementing it with professional, science-backed instruction. Now, let's consider the long-term impact. When students receive proper sex education, they don't just gain knowledge, they develop confidence, critical thinking, and decision-making skills. They learn how to evaluate risks, how to express their needs, and how to advocate for their well-being. These skills serve them for a lifetime, whether they're navigating romantic relationships, visiting a doctor, or educating their own children someday. It's not just sex education, it's life ed. So, where does that leave us? The evidence is clear. Sex education should be a core part of the school curriculum. It improves public health outcomes, empowers young people, supports emotional development, promotes inclusivity, and helps prevent abuse. It prepares students not just for sexual activity, but for adulthood, relationships, and responsibility. Now, imagine a world where every young person grows up with a clear understanding of their body, their rights, and their choices. Where no one feels ashamed or confused about natural human experiences. Where teens feel safe asking questions, setting boundaries, and saying no. That's the kind of world sex education helps create. And yet, despite all the benefits, the debate continues. That's why it's so important to stay informed, speak up, and support policies that prioritize young people's health and education. If we truly care about the next generation, we need to give them the tools they need to thrive, not just academically, but emotionally, physically, and socially. So, what do you think? Should sex education be mandatory in all schools? Have you had a positive or negative experience with it growing up? Do you believe parents and teachers should work together on this, or keep it separate? Drop your thoughts in the comments, we'd love to hear your perspective. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit from the conversation. We've got more deep dives coming up on education, relationships, and health, so hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and remember, knowledge is power, and everyone deserves the tools to make informed choices.